Hey, good morning, Merrimack Valley Baptist Church. I am Ricky the Rat, and I am here to just share a quick Bible lesson, Bible moment with the kids. You adults can listen too, so hopefully you stay awake and listening while I'm talking to the kids before Pastor Greg comes. Oh, where's Pastor Greg? Is he out here? Pastor Greg! Hey, Pastor Greg! Pastor Greg! Actually, he just likes hearing his name, so that's why I'm saying it a lot. And to be honest, everyone likes hearing their name, right? Our names are very important to us, aren't they? I've heard it said that the sweetest sound to anyone is the sound of their own name. Doesn't it make you feel good when someone remembers your name? Like you come to church or to school or something, and they're like, "Oh, hi, Ricky." And you're like, oh, they know who I am. So I got a question for you kids. Do you think God knows your name? I'm sure he does. Names are very important to God. In fact, I can think of several times in the Bible when God called someone by name. Let me think. Okay. One day, there was this guy Moses, and he saw a burning bush, so he went over to take a look. And God called to him from within the bush, saying, "Moses, Moses." And Moses answered and said, "Here I am." That's in Exodus 3. And then, let's see. Then one day, Jesus was walking down the streets of Jericho, and he stopped and looked up in a tree, and he said, "Zacchaeus, come down right now. I am going to your house today." And when Jesus called his name, Zacchaeus came down. That's in Luke 19. And let's see. Before the Apostle Paul became a follower of Christ, his name was Saul. And he was going to Damascus to persecute some disciples, because that's what he did. And a bright light flashed around him, and he fell to the ground, and he heard a voice from heaven saying to him, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?" And Saul answered and said, "Who are you, Lord?" And he said, "It is I, Jesus." And you can find that in Acts 9. But one of my favorite stories in the Bible is a story about a boy named Samuel. You may remember that Samuel's mother was a woman named Hannah, and she wanted a son more than anything else. So she prayed and asked God to give her a son. And she promised that if God gave her a son, she would give him back to the Lord to serve him all the days of his life. And that's just what happened. God gave Hannah a son, and she kept her promise to God. And when the boy was like 12, she took him to the temple and presented him to Eli the priest. So Samuel served in the temple under Eli. And then one night, Samuel was sleeping when he heard someone call his name. And he got up and he ran to Eli and said, "Here I am, you called me." But Eli's like, "I didn't call you, go back to bed." So Samuel went back to bed, and again he heard someone call his name. So Samuel jumped out of bed and went to Eli and said, "Here I am, you called me." And Eli's like, "I didn't call you, kid, go back to bed." So a third time, Samuel was in bed, and he heard someone say, "Samuel, Samuel." And he got up and he ran to Eli and said, "Here I am, you called me." Finally, Eli realized that it was God calling Samuel. He told Samuel, "Go and lie down, and if he calls you again, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" So Samuel went back to bed, and sure enough, again he heard the voice of God calling, "Samuel, Samuel." This time Samuel answered as Eli had told him and said, "Speak, for your servant is listening." You know, I love that story. Some people think that God only calls grown-ups, and that's why I like this story. Samuel is just a young boy when God called him. God knows your name just as he knew the name of Samuel and all those other guys. And God still calls boys and girls today saying, "Come, follow me." So we need to listen for God's call and answer just as Samuel did and say, "Here I am." Perhaps God will have something special for you to do. In a little while, Pastor Greg's going to come up and he's going to talk about God's calling people and people being called into their ministry. And really, it's important for us to listen for God's calling. We all are called to become disciples and serve God in this manner, but we also have gifts that we're supposed to be using for God every day. So please listen to Pastor Greg, and most importantly, listen to God and his calling. All right, I hope I see you guys all next week. You guys have a great time. Bye, Pastor Greg. I miss you. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Mwah, mwah, mwah.